While most kids in school do things like playing with Legos, Gumball controls time like a god, creates shockwaves when he speaks, bends entire dimensions, and so much more. So yeah, he's pretty strong, which is why today we're gonna go over his 7 different levels of strength to find out how strong he really is, starting with his normal state. And in this state, his strength is anything but normal. At just 1% power, he unlocks the ability to transform his body in more ways than you could imagine. You've probably guessed that he could do some unusual things with his body, because, well, he's a cartoon character. But in the episode The Secret, he really takes this to a new level, even for cartoon characters, when he gets flushed down the drain. Because both Gumball and Darwin literally become water droplet, and somehow both fit into a single bottle of water. And if their bodies can morph like this, imagine what else they could do. But we're only at 1% power. Later in this video, we're gonna look at what Gumball is like at 25% power, 50% power, and even 100% power. But things are already starting to get weird at just 5%, at which point he unlocks multiple different new abilities. The first of which being in the episode The Procrastinators, where Gumball and Darwin both somehow can eat themselves alive, which makes even less sense than him being able to morph into a water droplet. But miraculously, Gumball somehow comes back after doing this like nothing ever happened, which is crazy. But what's even more crazy is the fact that you're not subscribed. Yeah, you're not slit. Anyways, at this point, Gumball's actual strength goes up a lot, which we see in the episode The Mustache. Now, Gumball isn't usually the strongest character, but he becomes a man in this episode after accidentally eating Richard's supplements instead of cereal. And after getting pissed off by Tina Rex, Gumball all of a sudden went through 30 years of puberty in 5 seconds and destroyed Tina.
Enough!
Although this might have only been temporary power, this episode is still insane and shows how strong Gumball can be while barely trying. But we're just getting started, and we're gonna crank it up to 10% power. And at 10% power, Gumball gets a device that can literally control reality. In the episode The Bus, Rob invades the school bus on Principal Brown's weird intervention they were having for the kids on the way to school. And it ends up somehow with Gumball and Rob fighting on a plane's wing. And just as Gumball starts to lose the fight, he gets saved by the cops. But this was just the beginning of Rob's villain arc though, because we see a lot more of him in the rerun, and this is where Gumball's strength really starts to show. In the rerun, Rob gets a remote that can control reality, and he starts doing some crazy things with this, like turning Richard and Nicole into babies, which ends up killing Darwin and Anais. But when Gumball goes to fight Rob in this episode, he actually has some impressive fighting skills while not trying in the slightest, which is a pretty big improvement from last time. But more importantly, Gumball possessed the remote that can control reality, which technically makes him the most powerful being in Elmore at this moment, because with this remote he can fast forward time, reverse time, pause time, and even control subtitles. But it's not a part of his character. It's technically only an external device. So I don't think it's as powerful as some of these later forms that Gumball goes through later in this video. But before we get to 25% power, I'm gonna show you guys a bonus power, which might be one of the strongest ones in this video. And the best part is, you guys can use it at home. There's an app where you can literally message Gumball and the Watterson family, thanks to today's sponsor, Polybuzz. Polybuzz lets you chat with all your favorite characters from any of your favorite TV shows. Personally, I decided to talk to an AI replica of Gumball, and let's just say he responded exactly how you'd expect him to. I first asked him, "Hey Gumball, how did you become a water droplet that one time?"
Not through any normal means. It was during that crazy science experiment gone wrong in Ms. Simeon's class. Darwin accidentally knocked over some weird chemicals and bam, I turned into water.
You can have full conversations, roast them, joke with them, or whatever you want to do. The possibilities are literally endless. And you could even get sus with it if you wanted to. And on top of this, you can even make your own characters in the app. So you could add Banana Joe if you really wanted to. Just click the link in the description and the pinned comment. It's free, and honestly, it's more fun than doom scrolling. Thank you to Polybuzz for sponsoring today's video. Make sure to use my promo code Gumball. It lets you unlock a ton of features in the app, and it helps me out a ton. And now, back to the video. Okay, now let's go to 25% power, where Gumball unlocks a crazy ability like nothing we've ever seen. Changing your DNA. In the episode The Apprentice, Gumball is following around Penny's dad, Mr. Fitzgerald, all day to try to impress him so that he can be with Penny. But it turns out, one of the reasons Mr. Fitzgerald is worried about his daughter Penny being with Gumball is because of his bad genes. And when Gumball finds this out, he literally pulls out his DNA and shows him that he can change it at will.
But you can't do anything about your DNA.
Can't you?
And when Gumball and Mr. Fitzgerald come out of the elevator, we see that by Gumball just slightly changing his DNA, he's somehow summoned a bunch of strange monsters that are following him around. So far in this video, Gumball ate himself, obtained a remote that can control reality, and even changed his own DNA. But we're just getting started because now we're at 50% power, where even as a child, Gumball was still seen to be super strong. In the episode The Origins, when Gumball found out that Richard was about to flush Darwin down the toilet, Gumball was able to move so fast that everything around him seemed to be moving in slow motion.
Too fast.
Okay, wow, there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, Gumball can literally break glass just with his scream, which is already really impressive, but he can also seemingly control time, because everything around him slows down to a crawl when Gumball starts running around. And judging by how slow everything else was, we can assume that Gumball was moving faster than the speed of light. That means time would move super slow for Gumball compared to normal people. From the outside, it would look like time completely stopped him. And what's crazy is that this isn't even just a one-off thing. Gumball controlling time actually stays consistent when he grows up, and we see this in the episode The Countdown, where Gumball and Darwin are running late to school and they only have 6 minutes to get there before Miss Simeon marks them late. But for some reason, on screen there is a giant countdown, and Gumball and Darwin can see it in this episode. But when there's only a few seconds left and it seems like all hope is lost, Gumball accidentally runs into the camera, somehow breaking the fourth wall and pausing time in Elmore.
Dude, I think we just broke time.
We never have to worry about time again!
But after a bunch of messing around, they realize that they need to go back to their normal lives. So Gumball spins the time bar on screen and they accidentally go back to a bunch of weird periods in time. Like millions of years in the future when the whole Earth was polluted, back to when the Big Bang happened, and even back to when there was Monkey. But them hurting the monkey when they went into this alternate dimension completely changed the outcome of their real world. So Gumball and Darwin kept going back in time to try to fix their mistake, accidentally creating more and more clones of themselves in the meantime after each mistake. But then the real present day Gumball and Darwin fixed this after mentioning that it's a time paradox.
Hey, stop it! None of you should be here anyway! It's a time paradox! Oh, yeah!
And when everything seems like it's good, they somehow end up in another dimension where they are the gods of the world. But now we're at 69% power. And at this state, he starts unlocking some of his craziest abilities. One of the biggest ones is literally creating shockwaves just by roasting people. And we see this in the episode The Best, where Carmen is absolutely annoying Gumball by constantly calling him out for all of the things that he does, like being on his phone while talking to people and not eating vegetables.
Carmen's more smug than Anais when she does her wiener dog face.
Her what now?
You know, when she uses a clever word and her face is all like,
This is a library. People are trying to work. If you work in silence, your success will make the noise.
but you're making noise by telling me off.
The only time you're allowed to make noise in the library is when you tell someone else not to make noise in the library. So I will permit what you just said, but nothing else. By the way, you shouldn't slouch in your chair. It's stunting your growth.
But after Gumball's had enough of her, like anybody would, he decides to absolutely crash out and send seismic waves through the universe with just his words.
Maybe you should check your privilege.
I just meant that eating too much processed food is a big factor in weight gain, and
What? Big people shouldn't be proud of who they are?
No, of course not. I mean, ask your doctor and he will tell you.
He? Why would you assume the doctor is a he? Is it because you assume a woman can't be a doctor?
What is this?
I have studied the martial ways of the social justice warrior. Fight me in an argument if you dare. Perish under the sword of my self-righteousness.
Him doing that was pretty crazy, but what else is crazy is Gumball's ability to absolutely destroy the fourth wall. And we see this so many times in the show, like in the episode The Signal, where Gumball and Darwin realize that they're trapped in a TV show, and in the rerun, where we see him rearrange subtitles. In episodes, we even see Gumball stopping transitions and talking to the camera. But what's even crazier is that he is so powerful that we see him leave reality for a commercial and interact with the president of Cartoon Network.
Hi, Mr. President. You know, I've been thinking that on Children's Day, it would be fun if Darwin and I were thinking that first we would allow everyone to bring their favorite reptiles, and then we would fire everyone and fill the water coolers with ice cream. No commercials, no Ben what's-his-name, fireworks in the elevator, play fruitball every hour, or maybe every 15 minutes. Can we do it? Can we do it, please?
He knows he's fictional, and he knows he's the main character, and that's what makes him so deadly. But what could possibly be more powerful than that, you may ask? Well, now we have to look at Gumball's final form, 100% power, and this is his anime transformation. We find this in the episode The Past, where Gumball turns into Goku and goes Super Saiyan, which is already crazy. In Dragon Ball, going Super Saiyan makes you 50 times stronger than normal, but Gumball doesn't just stop there. He goes even further. He hits Super Saiyan 2. Super Saiyan 2 is like normal Super Saiyan, but way more intense. The hair is spikier, there's lightning all around you, and you're basically either super mad or super hype. It's about 100 times stronger than normal strength, which is already insane considering how strong we've already found that Gumball is. But here's the part you really gotta pay attention to. If Gumball actually had Saiyan powers, then every time he got beat up or hurt, he'd get a Zenkai boost. That's something Saiyans get in Dragon Ball. When they survive a big fight, they come back even stronger than before. So if Gumball kept fighting and getting back up, he would keep getting stronger and stronger forever. And he would probably break the whole power scale. But because he watched all the way to the end of the video, you should subscribe. Or you're probably weird in Naruto Run to Lunch. You don't do that, do you?